Hello, wonderful campers, and welcome back to our last creative writing skill group together. And for our last session, I just wanted to chat with you guys today and give you some tips and tricks about writing that I found out that I thought could help. And I have 8 tips for you guys today. And the first one is just to make writing a habit, because as you know, the more you do something, the better you get. So when making writing a habit, I think it's really important to focus on quantity over quality, because it's so easy to get so stuck about like our writing being perfect and making everything perfect about our story. But the fact is, when you write more, like the better you're gonna get. If that sentence made sense, like the more you write, the better that you're going to get. So in making a habit, I just start small, say like I'm going to write this amount of minutes every day or this amount of minutes every few days. Could be as small as like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you think is feasible, and just see how your writing grows from there. So that's tip number 1, is to make writing a real habit in your lives. And tip number 2 that I have for you guys is figure out what time you write the best. I am a super duper late night person. I'm a night owl, so I write the best when it's later in the night. That's when I'm most creative. That's when I feel like I can write better and my words flow better. But every single person is different. Your time to write best might be early in the morning, could be sometime in the afternoon. So just figure out the time when you feel the most creative, when you feel like it's easiest to write, and try to make your habit during that time. So that's tip number 2, find out the time of day or night that you write best. Tip number 3 that I have for you guys is find writing prompts online, because writer's block is real, and sometimes it can be really difficult to find new ideas of stuff that you want to talk about. But if you just Google writing prompts for every day, or just a list of writing prompts per genre, or anything that you like, there are thousands of resources that you can find that give you ideas for free. And I think that's a really great way to spark your creativity and keep writing, even if you feel like you don't really have anything to say. I'm sure that searching those writing prompts will help you come up with ideas. So tip number 3 is searching writing prompts online. Tip number 4 also has to do with ideas, and that is keeping a notebook of ideas that you have, because the really cool thing about writing is you really never know when inspiration is going to strike you, and sometimes you'll come up with an idea when it's not really a good time to write. And I'm really good at forgetting ideas when I come up with them, so I'll come up with a great idea and then have no idea what it is in like an hour. But if you keep a notebook with your ideas, and as soon as you get an idea, you write it down, then when it's your writing time, or basically any time you decide to write, you can just pull out your notebook and see that idea and start, making it into a project. So it's really simple. Just keep the notebook on you and see how it just fills up with ideas that you have. So that's tip number 4. And tip number 5 is read as much as you can, because the more that you read, the better your writing is going to be. It makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like an equation that if you take in a lot of words, the words that you produce and the words that you write are just going to be better and of higher quality, and it's going to be great. I love reading so much. I am a huge fan of reading, and I can tell you that when I read more, I feel like my writing improves too. And my favorite thing about this tip is like, don't feel pressure to read like the good books or like the classics, although I would highly recommend them. They're called classics for a reason. But basically read any genre that sparks your interest, whether that's fantasy or adventure or mystery, any kind of books that you like to read. If you read them, your writing will still improve. So don't be caught up on finding like a really like popular book that you're assigned or something. Just the more you read, the more you write. And if possible, I would highly recommend signing up for your summer library's reading program, because then you can get badges and prizes, and that's a really great incentive and community participation. You can read with like lots of different people too. So that's really fun. So tip number 5, read a ton. Tip number 6 is do a writing challenge. So that really just motivates you to write every day or write a certain number of words, and that gives that motivation when you might not feel super motivated. I know there's one in November called NaNoWriMo, I believe it's called, standing for National Novel Writing Month. So lots of writers try to write a novel in a month. It sounds super, super scary. I've never done it, although I've wanted to. I've never completed the challenge. But if that's up your alley, go for it and just see what you come up with. And if that seems like too big of a project, you can always scale back. For example, a few months ago, I did a 30-day project where I said I was going to write a poem for a whole month. And like every day that month, I would write a poem. And I told myself that the poems didn't have to be good. I just had to write them. And like after I wrote them, I could see, oh, some of these weren't that bad after all, but I just didn't put pressure on myself. I just said that I was going to write every month. And if you do something every day of a month, and if you do something like that, then like I said, you'll find the motivation and just put low pressure on yourself, and it's a really fun project to complete. So that's tip number 6, I believe it is. And tip number 7, got it right, is show your writing to someone you trust, whether that be a teacher or a friend or a parent, because those people can really encourage you and tell you that they believe in you, and that will help you believe more in yourself, which will in turn better your writing. And these people can also give you really valuable feedback so that your writing can also be improved. And I know it's really scary to show people your writing. I totally get that. But I believe there's so much reward in it. And if you just choose a person or two who you believe will have a really positive and good response and encourage you, then I believe there's a huge reward for that. So that's tip number 7, is show someone you trust your writing. And tip number 8, is figure out how you can use your writing to serve, because I can believe that writing can be a very solitary activity. It's just you and the paper, but there are ways to use our skill and our talent and our love for writing to better other people's lives and to bring glory to God too, because God gave us our love for writing for a reason, and I think it can be really fun to use it to help other people and to magnify His name. And that can be anything, any hole in your community, any gap where people need a writer, like volunteering to write something for somebody, or writing a novel or just a piece of fiction or a poem for somebody as a way to encourage them, or just giving glory to God when people compliment your writing can be a really fun way to serve other people and to show that you're a Christian or to bring glory to God. So that's tip number 8, is figure out how you can use your writing to serve. And those are my tips. I hope that you enjoyed them. I hope that they can help you. I'm so excited for what you guys are going to do, and I believe in you. And I miss you guys so much, and I'm so sad we're not in person. But I hope you guys have incredible summers. Thank you so much for being here with me.